Hey guys, I'm Brittany Hughes, this is MRCTV, and here's your reality check. Football teams across the country made waves yet again last weekend as many players decided to show solidarity with one another and stand up against alleged racism and police brutality with various pathetic forms of protest. Now, a few teams actually stood up and respectfully acknowledged our national anthem the way it should be. Players with the Washington Redskins and Pittsburgh Steelers actually helped hold the American flag during the national anthem last Monday. And some players with the New York Giants, Tennessee Titans, and Atlanta Falcons wore custom patriotic cleats to commemorate the 15th anniversary of 9/11 on Sunday, even after the NFL threatened to fine them for doing so, because apparently only certain political statements are allowed on our football fields. But let me tell you what was happening while the Seattle Seahawks were debating how to best disrespect America in the name of social justice last weekend. 41 more people were shot in Chicago between Friday night and Monday morning. 8 of them were killed, including 18-year-old Kiki Fleming, who was shot dead while, and get this, attending a vigil for a 23-year-old man who was murdered outside his home the day before. 2 teenage boys who were standing near her were also shot and injured. Oh, and the weekend before, while various attention-seeking, multi-million-dollar-making football players were punching their fists into the air in a display of black power, 65 people were shot in Chicago. 13 of those were killed, including Alan Smith, a retired pastor who was shot outside a senior nursing home. Victims also included Crystal Meyer, who was shot in the abdomen. She was 9 months pregnant at the time, and she was standing on the same block where another person had been shot and killed only 20 hours earlier. And while Colin Kaepernick was struggling to prolong his 15 minutes of fame as a subpar quarterback turned racial justice advocate, Labor Day weekend ended up being the deadliest holiday weekend in Chicago so far this year. Police attributed many of the shootings to gang violence. In fact, there have been 523 homicides in Chicago so far this year, and most of the victims were black. But get this, the Wall Street Journal published a report showing that the uptick in Chicago shootings is partly because Chicago police have pulled back from doing their jobs because they fear retaliation from so-called justice warriors. These race hustlers, made up of protesters, government officials, and many in the media, have made cops so wary of doing their jobs that more people are actually getting hurt because police officers hesitate to intervene. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, a liberal, even said that Chicago police had, quote, gone fetal and were less likely to intervene when they see criminal behavior. The Chicago Police Department said pedestrian stops dropped 82% between January and July compared with the same period last year. The Wall Street Journal reported, and I quote, "Criminals are back in control and black lives are being lost at a rate not seen for 2 decades. So here's a note to anyone too dense to figure out this very simple concept. This is what happens when police officers are afraid to do their jobs. They stop intervening in known drug deals because they're afraid they'll get dragged into court for daring to approach a black man. They stop pulling over speeding or stolen cars for fear that they'll get smeared and threatened all over Facebook for stopping a black family. And there ends up being more shootings, more deaths, and more black lives lost because cops don't want their home addresses and names of their children blasted all over Facebook in retaliation for all of their racism. So you want a world without cops? You want a country where the police constantly live and work under the threat of arbitrary and instant social justice by the enraged masses? Does that sound more just and fair to you? How about all of you high-earning football players living in your cushy houses far away from the danger of our inner cities? Well, you're welcome to head on over to Chicago. I'm sure many of those folks would just love to trade places with you. And that's your reality check, America. Stay sane out there. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube page or check out mrctv.org. And make sure that you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.